question. We'll go to other tables for fair hearing. I hope that's okay with us.
That's all right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very
We'll
much.
go to other tables so that we have fair hearing.
Thank you very much. I want to answer the other question, sir, where you asked about the mandate of HYPREP. I explained that the mandate of HYPREP is remediation of impacted sites and livelihood. The livelihood angle is what captures what the governing council members were talking about, creating opportunities and job opportunities and welfare for Ogoni people. So two mandates of HYPREP is remediation and the livelihood aspect. So that takes care of it. Sorry? Of course, impacted sites is the main reason, but just like the governing council member, Professor Benanen explained, and the MOSO president, you couldn't clean the environment when the people sitting there are hungry. So we tie them together, sir.
All right, thank you very much. Next question, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Honorable Chief Felicia Bariza Sintane of Thai local government. I just want to ask one simple question. This is Ogoni, and we are all representative. We have more of the Ogonis in the village. And the Ogoni comprises of 4 local governments. There was one I was supposed to ask, but my sister said it's another day, so I shifted that one to another day. But what I want to ask now is, like this huge money we see, we hear, and all along, they say this money is not going to be shared to anybody, which is right. Now, I want to ask, what did you intend to do in local government A, B, C, and D, which is Thai, Kana, Eleme, and Gokana? What do we get home and tell our people that this is what they will do for the clean up? You know, when they hear clean up, what are you cleaning? So that is what I want to ask. What will you do to each of these local governments that will show or bring, even if they won't see money, at least that thing will bring money, we bring food, we bring, is it the pipe-borne water, is it the health side to operation, is it only those people who have operation sickness or other diseases, or is it building of houses, or is it what and what? Just tell us so that we can tell our local people. Thank you very much, and I'm sorry to.
All right, thank you very much. All right, straight to the piece, please.
Okay, Honorable Madam, I recognize and I salute you. The answer to your question is that the UNEP report captured impacted sites across all the 4 local governments. It also made recommendation on emergency measures, things we need to do very quickly. Emergency measures on the health study as well as on water. So we will be looking at those communities where water, their groundwater is impacted, and will provide water in those places. We will also be looking at all the impacted sites in the 4 local governments, and that is where the remediation work is starting. So there's something, this money is going to be used for the 4 local governments, and they should watch out for activities like water, health studies, livelihood. We are going to train people, give them new skills across the 4 local governments. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Let's quickly go to just the last question, please. Sorry, let's go to this table, please.
The Honorable Minister here represented. Okay. Please, may I be allowed to stand on existing protocol? To what extent Okay. My question is this. My question is this. To what extent, number one, have we engaged the oil companies operating in Ogoni land so as not to repollute the environment after this cleanup? We look at gas flaring and spillages. Because to our knowledge, they are operating with double standard. To what extent have we engaged them to make sure they conform to best and standard practice, the way they operate in other environments? Number two, we're talking about combating with the illegal refineries. To what extent have we considered our youth and consider to make sure we grant these modular refineries to the Ogonis, not considering the standard or the level of, or the capacity of the company that will be granted? To what extent are we considering the Ogonis to grant license to our people to operate these modular refineries so that we can engage our youths who are already skilled in that business and to stop them from repolluting the environment? Lastly, to what extent are we carrying the stakeholders along in the area of engaging the companies that will come and carry out this cleanup exercise? If we have about 100 companies coming from Yoruba, Igbo, and other places, at the end of the day, if you give them contract of about 100 million naira, and they execute the contract with about 50 million naira, they have profit of 50 million naira. If you allow the traditional institutions and the stakeholders to be part of that process, that profit that they are going back with will be shared among those that recommend them to come and do this contract. They will not finish the contract, go with the money, profit and everything, and we say, okay, they were doing Ogoni cleanup, and we go back empty-handed. To what extent have we considered these three issues? Thank you.
Back to you, Dr. Marvin, please.
Thank you very much. I hear repollution and to what extent we are dealing with that. I want to stay focused on the mandate of HYPREP. HYPREP is under the Federal Ministry of Environment. The Federal Ministry of Environment deals with environmental issues. Your question bordered on environmental and operational issues. So there are the operational aspect of your question are questions that the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources will be able to deal with, and I'm not able to comment on those. But when it comes to repollution, we have spoken about what we all need to do. Repollution issues, you have a role to play in that. Government has a role to play in that. The IOCs have a role to play in that. And collectively, only collectively can we deal with that. So, but our job here is to make sure that we bring all of you on board. It is part of the reason that a stakeholder forum like this is important. It's part of this gathering here is part of the solution to that problem you're asking. So what are we going to do? We're going to be here, we ask ourselves, and we tell ourselves which way we can deal with that particular problem from the community angle. As I'm sitting here, I'm talking to the Honorable Minister is seated here. He is already talking to the Minister of Petroleum Resources about these issues too. So government is working. The IOCs, they are here, they are doing their bit. So the community angle is one of the reasons we are seated here, so that that problem will be dealt with by all of us. The other question is the extent of engagement of IOCs with youths. The program we want to do in HYPREP, it's a youth program. There is a livelihood program for the youths in HYPREP. And that will capture those people who are in artisanal refining by way of giving them alternative means of livelihood. It's important for us to state clearly that certain activities are criminal activities and they are a breach of the law of the country. And we are not in any way encouraging that. So While we are discouraging you from doing that, we are also providing through our livelihood programs means for these youths to stay off that. And we also want to make it clear that whatever it is, whatever funds we secure for livelihood activity will be judiciously used for everybody who could participate in our program. We have the youth, we have the women, we have people whose sources of livelihood have been impacted by reason of oil pollution. You spoke about stakeholders and companies. I know that at the very beginning of this project, there were some forum where we sat and we encouraged the local companies to look at the regulatory and statutory requirements that is needed to involve and to take advantage of the business opportunities that this project offers. And that was like a year ago. I believe that from that period till now, sufficient Ogoni companies would have presented themselves those, or would have given themselves those statutory requirements. It's unfortunate that without those statutory requirements, the question of talking about stakeholder community interest we will not be able to address it. You need to meet what the law says for you to be a contractor before we can consider you a contractor. And once you're a contractor, then the advantage of you are an Ogoni contractor can then set in. But we cannot do anything if you do not meet those basic requirements. I also want to use this opportunity to speak to all of us. Please take advantage of the business opportunities that come out of this project by looking at the statutory and the regulatory requirements that are there. If you have companies that meet up this thing, our office is open. We are willing to give these opportunities to as many Nigerians, to as many Rivers people, to as many Ogoni people that are willing and that have the companies to participate in this process. Thank you.
Honorable Minister, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go for a break here to let in the Senator representing Southeast Senatorial District, very distinguished Senator Magnus Abe, who is here represented by Chief Marcus Neji, to address us, and then we will come back to the question and answer. Thank you.
Okay. The Honorable Minister for Environment, heavily represented by my dear friend, seated just by my side. You're welcome. Your Royal Highnesses, Majesties, our leaders, I bring you tidings from the Honorable Magnus Ngeabe, Senator representing Rivers Southeast. He has asked me to give his apology. He's scheduled to be here this morning, but I'm sure we are politicians, you know what is happening in Abuja, so he has to be called back. He asked me to thank the Ogoni people for their cooperation and ask that they continue to be united together, show of love and peace, so that this project can go on. And that I should let all of you know that he's been in touch with the Ministry of Environment and the Minister. They're working together to ensure that this program is successful. He also said I should commend the good job the HYPREP Director is doing. He's in touch with them and also in touch with all the stakeholders at home. He already said I should also let our people know that he's also arranging a meeting, a stakeholders meeting, where he will come back to home and meet with our various stakeholders so to ensure we have peace and unity so this project can go on peacefully. May God bless everybody, bless HYPREP, and bless the Ogoni people. Thank you very much. Excuse me. Thank you so much. Thank you. The project coordinator, they keep on trying to shut us down, and there's so many questions. But there's one particular issue that the project coordinator would like to answer. And that is the accusation that the timing of this project coincides with the upcoming election. And this is something we hear again and again, both in Abuja and in Port Harcourt. And the project coordinator feels so strongly about it that he had asked me to raise this issue because he would like to answer it.
I guess the question as whether this project is political has been out there for a while. And I want to, first of all, thank all of you here, because sitting here, I'm looking at Ogoni people. I'm not seeing any political divide here. And I want to appreciate you for coming out as Ogoni people to support the project. And that is the way, truly, the project, it is a project to address the Ogoni impact, the impact in Ogoni land, by extension, in the Niger Delta. So it is non-political at all. For those of you who have been to the office, we attend to you as individuals. We do not attend to you with any political coloration. The same goes with the implementation of the project. There are series and sequence of activities that need to be done one after the other. We started with the flag off. At the time the flag off was done, there were no elections in Nigeria. We went on to do the inauguration of the governing institutions, the Board of Trustees and the Governing Council. These are councils that were inaugurated by President Buhari himself at the presidential villa. The Ogoni project is one of the very few projects where the president himself inaugurates their board. At that time, there were no elections in Nigeria. The project coordination office started in April last year in Port Harcourt. We started at the HYPREP office, at the NOSRA office. When that started, there were no elections in Nigeria. We went on and we did our health and our training for the youths and health outreach for the programs. At these times, again, there were nothing. So it's only a coincidence that at this stage of the implementation where we are, it's the same year where there's election. But it does not in any way affect our work. Like the BOT and the Shell rep explained here, the money for this cleanup has just been released. It is election year, and yet the money has been released to the Board of Trustees. What I'm trying to explain is that the structures of HYPREP, the way it is designed, the way it's structured,